Welcome to the NAIOP Southern Nevada January Breakfast Program. My name is Cassie Catania Sue. Now that we've turned the page to 2024, I have the privilege of serving as your NAIOP Southern Nevada Chapter President in this new year. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning to everyone in attendance here at the Orleans and to everyone joining us via Zoom. For all of you that are here in the room, please write down questions on the notepads at your table, and the Programs Committee will circulate during the program and collect them for later after the panel is done. Q&A will start at promptly 9 a.m., and today's program will conclude at 9:15. Today we have a star-studded audience that includes some very special guests. I would like to recognize our elected officials that are in attendance today. I will call your name and please stand to be recognized. Councilman Richard Chicherio, City of North Las Vegas. Thank you. Councilwoman Frances Allen Polensky, City of Las Vegas. Councilwoman Olivia Diaz, City of Las Vegas. Councilwoman Victoria Seaman, City of Las Vegas, is on her way. Councilman Jim Seabuck, City of Henderson. Thank you. Last year, our past President Reed recognized and highlighted one member at each breakfast. This year, I will do the same, but I would be remiss if I didn't start out January taking a moment to thank all of the committee members. As many of you know, I have been a very active committee participant in NAIOP for several years and feel very strongly that the participation from many of you in this room is really what makes our chapter thrive. And there are 12 committees in total within NAIOP. So I'm going to basically take a moment to let you know about each committee, and if you serve on that committee, please stand to be recognized, because I do know firsthand how much time and dedication that your service to this chapter does help us, and I know that it takes away from other duties, so it is a juggling act, and we very much appreciate what you do for our chapter. To start, if you do serve on the bus tour committee, please stand and be recognized. If you serve on the Communications Committee, please stand and be recognized. The Community Service Committee, please stand and be recognized. Yeah. The Developing Leaders Institute, DLI Committee, please stand and be recognized. The Developing Organizational Leadership Institute, or DOLI Committee, please stand and be recognized. The Education Committee, please stand and be recognized. The Golf Tournament Committee, please stand and be recognized. You're welcome, Phil. The Government Affairs Committee, please stand and be recognized. Membership Committee. The Programs Committee, please stand. And the Spotlight Awards Committee, please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service, and as you can see, we have a total of 290 committee members across all 12 committees, but you saw several of the same people stand time after time for each committee. So there are several NAIOP Southern Nevada members that are doing multiple jobs. So if you're in this room, I do strongly urge you to look at a committee that speaks to your heart and think about committing and joining and helping us move this organization forward as we have. And across those 290 committee members in 12 committees, there were a total of 115 committee meetings in 2023. So thank you to each and every one of you, and also Katrina and Jana, who help keep most of us in line and on task. And if you would like to join a committee, please see me, Katrina, Jana, or anybody that you just saw stand, and we will definitely help you to learn more about a committee. Thank you. Now I'd like to take a moment to honor our President's Circle sponsors. Yes, thank you, committee members. They are a critical component to the success of our NAIOP chapter. This year, we have 4 platinum sponsors, the most we've ever had. Special thank you to each one of our sponsors and the sponsorship committee led by Lisa Brady. Cox Business has supported our chapter for 21 years. Thank you, Cox Business. Gatsky Commercial Real Estate since 2022. Thank you. Martin Harris Construction since 2001. Thank you. And Schnitzer Properties has supported the chapter since the turn of the century in 2000. Thank you. We'd also like to take a moment to thank our gold sponsors, Howard Hughes, which has our corporate board member and past president, Julie Cleaver, past president and one of our panelists today, Frank Stephan. Kimley Horn and Associates, Spotlight 2023 Engineering Firm of the Year. Majestic Realty, whose leader, Rod Martin, is a Spotlight Lifetime Achievement recipient and one of the MVPs of NAIOP Southern Nevada. Nevada General Construction, thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Micah, for being so involved. Panatone Development Company, Doug Roberts, and NAIOP Southern Nevada board member Phil Dunning. Prologis, led by NAIOP board member Lisa Brady, and also 2023 NAIOP Development Firm of the Year, and a panelist today, Mathias Hughes. Thank you. Southern Nevada Water Authority, whom as always I would like to commend for the difficult work that they do to safeguard the future of our community. Thank you to our gold sponsors. Now please check the screen as we recognize our silver sponsors, bronze sponsors, and copper level President's Circle sponsors. If your company or you are not a 2024 President's Circle sponsor, do not be alarmed. These sponsorships are still available, and Lisa would probably like to get to 10 platinum sponsors. All of our levels do include breakfast program attendees, a variety of event discounts, and company recognition throughout the year. If you are interested, please stop by the registration desk, see myself, Katrina, Jana, or Lisa Brady. We are happy to help give you more information and get you signed up. As I mentioned, NAIOP really relies on the service of all of the committee members, and that's what makes us such a high-quality organization. These committees are made up of volunteer members, and so I'd like to take a moment to let all of the committee members give brief updates for their committees. So committee members, please come up to the front. Okay, Tana, see if the mic should be on.
That's you. I'm kind of Heinz's assistant today.
Aren't we all?
Are we on? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Hi, Dana.
Dana in the trouble seat.
In 2023, NAIOP Southern Nevada launched DOLI, which stands for Developing Organizational Leadership Institute. If you are a graduate of the inaugural class and you're in the room, please stand up. Stay standing for 1 second. DOLI is, what are we on now? 8 weeks. It's 6 sessions. It's a leadership institute that we designed specifically for NAIOP members. It includes philosophies on leadership, understanding personality and communication styles through the DISC assessment, effective time management and productivity tools. We're adding this year public speaking. There's networking. There's really understanding NAIOP as an organization from the local level all the way through the corporate level. One of the frequently asked questions we had and still have is it for 35 and under, like DLI? The answer is no. It's for all ages. And I'm asking Deshaun, Thomas,
Sierra.
Ciara, yes.
lips.
I
Yeah.
had it in my tongue, I'm sorry. To stand up because they are the ones that can really answer your questions about what this is and if it's for you. Dolly Session 2 is launching now. Applications will be in your inboxes. If you feel like it's for you, please review it. Ask whatever questions you have. If you feel like it's for somebody in your organization, make sure to forward it to them. The only qualification is that you are an active NAIOP Southern Nevada member. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Guy Gugino with MidFirst Bank, and I am here for the Golf Committee. The save the date for the 32nd Annual Golf Committee is on Friday, May 17th. We are doing a Battle of the Bands theme. We have reached out to you. A lot of you have already been really, really generous. There are more sponsorships available. We'll be reaching out over the next month. Currently, we're not opening up foursomes to general membership until we've sold a certain amount of sponsorships. So please sponsor so we can get moving along and get this whole thing sold out. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Gaetana Cafasa with Burke Construction for the Spotlight Awards Committee. So we have the 27th Annual Spotlight Awards coming up on Saturday, February 24th at Red Rock. We do have some sponsorships still left. Our theme this year is NAIOP All Paris, which is kind of like a springtime in Paris. So, we've got theme colors of pink, black, white, and gold. But if you have any sponsorship questions, please feel free to let us know. Thank you.
And check your inbox for the Merit Award winners will be announced next week.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Micah with Nevada General Construction, here with the Membership Committee. The first members-only mixer of the year will be at Taps and Barrels at Evora, roughly Buffalo and 215, if you're not familiar. It will be a really, really good event. We've gotten the whole space. There'll be good food, all sorts of stuff, so please register for that. Also, if you're a new member to the chapter or will be a new member here shortly, I hope, we have our new member coffee. We are hosting it at Narrative, so thank you to Lepore and G2 for hosting us for that. It'll be on the second floor, so come by, grab a cup of coffee, learn about the chapter, meet some of the committee chairs, learn how to get involved. If you have any questions about that or anything else or membership in general, please reach out to me.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Colliers International Bus Tour Committee. We are still narrowing down the exact date, but it looks like it's going to be November 14th. Keep an eye out for sponsorship opportunities, and we are looking forward to another successful event. Thanks.
Thank you, committee chairs and committee members, for your announcements. Each month, we like to recognize our new members. If you are a new member and in attendance today, please stand to be recognized, and welcome to NAIOP Southern Nevada. Every month, if you are unaware, new members do have a red new member ribbon on their name tags. So if you have been a longtime member of NAIOP Southern Nevada and see a red name tag, please welcome them to our chapter. And I think I saw Cooper had the most I saw today ribbon. So Cooper, make yourself known to this new member, please. NAIOP Southern Nevada is currently 711 members strong and ranks in the top 10 for NAIOP chapters nationally. To the guests here today or joining in via Zoom and not a NAIOP member, this is your invitation to become a member. If you would like to explore what value NAIOP can bring to you and your company, here are 4 options. 1, stop at the registration table for a membership form on your way out, or you could go right now if you'd like so we can give you an applause. You can join online by going to naopnv.org, click on membership, call the NAIOP office. I'm not going to read the number, Jonna, because nobody's going to write that down. Or see Micah Durham. Micah, where are you sitting again? Right there. Micah is the chair of membership and would be happy to help you. Or you're always welcome, of course, to come and talk to me as well. If you go to see Lisa Brady, it will cost you money. But together, you don't stand much of a chance, I think, between her and I. So I would also like to thank our 2024 breakfast meeting sponsors for the year. American Nevada Realty, Carpenter Sellers Delgado Architects, Cox Business, Gatsky Commercial Real Estate, Martin Harris Construction, McCarthy Building Companies, NV Energy, R&O Construction, Southern Nevada Water Authority, and Southland Industries. And to our annual breakfast Wi-Fi sponsor, Schnitzer Properties. Thank you very much. So today's breakfast sponsor is Martin Harris Construction. Martin Harris has been a valuable supporter of our chapter since inception in 1986. Frank Martin served on the board in the 90s and was one of the founders of the Spotlight Awards. I'd like to introduce Nick Gushu, Vice President of Pre-Construction Services, to come to the stage. He is a skilled construction professional with a diverse portfolio of projects and delivery methods. Nick is born and raised in Las Vegas and serves as a Vice President of Pre-Construction Services at Martin Harris Construction. Nick has been the company advocate for several charitable organizations such as Make-A-Wish Southern Nevada, Positively Arts, and Big Brothers Big Sisters. Nick has been a member of NAIOP for 5 years and serves on the NAIOP Bus Tour Committee. Welcome to the stage, Nick. Thank you again to Martin Harris Construction for sponsoring today's breakfast program.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first breakfast for NAIOP for 2024. I'm standing here representing a company that's been in town for 47 years with over 390 associates. And I want to say it's an honor to continue to partner with NAIOP and the impactful, energetic people in this room. A few of us were at a little celebration last night, and there's a new development manager coming to town. And what he said was he was impressed with the collaboration that he sees in the Las Vegas development community, and that he doesn't see that in other parts of the country. And that's really a testament to NAIOP and what these groups do. Whether it's DLI, a committee, an event, or an educational, it's really always done right. This group comes together when there's an EVAP moratorium and we have to make the right decision for our community, or just to put on a really cool golf tournament. So if you're not a member and you haven't seen the ROI or the experience, please come see one of the Martin Harris folks. We'd be happy to share what it's done for our company. Enjoy breakfast. I look forward to a great panel this morning, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. And on a personal note, I was driving out to an open house one time at Apex, and the road wasn't paved. And Nick flags me down. He goes, "You don't look like you know what you're doing. You want me to take you?" I said, "Please." So thank you, Nick, for the time that you gave me a ride. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not an off-roader, so I very much appreciated that. All right, so let's get on with today's program. I am very excited and very grateful for the panelists and the moderator today. This is very exciting for our chapter, and I can't wait to hear what all of the panelists will share with us today. We have not yet given enough credit to the amazing programs committee. This committee has been knocking out of the park with what we like to think are the best programs in the business for several years. And this is a great segue for me to introduce a good friend of mine, Sabrina Borghoff with Martin Harris. Quick reminder as she's walking up to the stage that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the program. Again, there are pens and paper at your table. If you have a question here in the room, please write it down, kind of wave it in the air. Somebody from the programs committee, I guess, or myself, programs committee, please stand so that people can see where you are. All right, so Dan and I will be collecting your questions. We got this here in the room. And if you are on Zoom, go ahead and put in the Q&A or chat function, and Jonna will be collecting those for us there. And again, without further ado, Sabrina is a key figure in Nevada construction, known for her diverse project portfolio as Vice President of Business Development. She oversees Martin Harris Construction business development efforts regionally and serves on the executive board of directors. Sabrina's innovative approach has forged long-lasting partnerships for all of Martin Harris business units, ranging from tenant improvements to major projects, contributing significantly to the company's revenue growth. Beyond her role, she's active in community outreach, participating in multiple national NAIOP events and committees, including Icon West Industrial and East Coast, CRE Converge, and sits on the Real Estate Development Trends Forum. Additionally, Sabrina created and co-hosts the annual STEM for STEM fundraising event benefiting the American Cancer Society's Researchers Campaign. Sabrina is also a NAIOP Developing Leaders Institute graduate, has chaired the DLI Committee and the Spotlight Awards Committee, and has served on variety of committees throughout the years. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, maybe you and Coop might need to have like a show off here with the name tags. My good friend, Sabrina Borghoff.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, before I sit down, I wanted to take a moment to salute our First Lady. It's been several years since we've had a woman president, since Julie Cleaver. So if we could all give Cassie a second round of applause. I think that's great. You know, listening to Cassie and Nick talk about NAIOP Southern Nevada, I personally have great exposure on a national level with NAIOP, and it's to hear everybody's personal testimony coming up on stage today, talking about not only the past presidents that continue to pour into the organization, our executive board, our chairs for all of our committees, and the hardworking volunteers that truly help make this organization a success. We couldn't do it without you, but we are one of the most sought after chapters in the country, and other chapters look to us to replicate not only our programs, because we do it so flawlessly, but the way that we come together in the community and help make each other successful. So a second round of applause for you guys and all the hard work, volunteers, committee members, board members, and past presidents in the room today. With that, I'm going to ask all of our panelists to come up to the stage as I'm talking through your guys' bios. We hope to give you guys a recap of 2023 and some insight on what we can expect in 2024. So with that, we have Mr. Frank Stephan from Howard Hughes joining us. He is the president of the Nevada region for Howard Hughes, leading the development efforts and all functions for the master plan community of Summerlin. Frank has over 25 years experience executing complex real estate developments from New York to LA. Prior to joining Howard Hughes, he served as head of the Clariot Group's West Coast operations team, and he brings to Howard Hughes a valuable cross-disciplinary perspective from architecture, construction management, and real estate development, including the design, entitlement, and delivery of over 2 million square feet of residential development, approximately 700,000 square feet of large-scale retail and office development, and 6 off-Broadway theaters. That's crazy. Next, we have Mr. Mathias Hughes coming to us from Prologis. Mathias is the Vice President Investment Officer covering the Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Reno markets. Serving Investment Officer, Mathias has completed several build-to-suit deals, of which 3.1 million square feet he delivered since 2020. That's huge. He has also worked with the team to acquire or ground lease 1,200 acres of strategic land. While development is a focus in these markets, he has also worked to acquire $300 million in operating real estate. And prior to joining the capital deployment team, he has led the Reno and Las Vegas markets as their office market officer. During that time, he led the team through significant growth, with Las Vegas growing from 8 million square feet to 12.5 million square feet, and Reno from 3.4 million square feet to 6.2 million square feet on completion of their current projects. Lastly, but not least, we have Mr. Matt Nelson joining us from J.A. Kennedy Real Estate Company. Matt has decades of experience in commercial property acquisition and sales, as well as structuring of real estate finance. Matt's current focus is divided into 2 segments, the real estate business and the landman. It's in quotes, so he's official. While wearing his retail business hat, Matt navigates and directs the acquisitions, development, and leasing of power and neighborhood shopping centers throughout the greater Las Vegas. I mean, these gentlemen's resumes are quite impressive, and their organizations have undoubtedly made huge contributions to the landscape of Southern Nevada, and we are so thankful to have you guys joining us today. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to your wisdom and insight.
Thank you.
Who's had their coffee this morning?
You have, Sabrina.
Okay. All right. Again, so thank you for joining us. As we begin, I wanted to reflect back for a moment on last year. We started off 2023 with an unsettling understanding of the current state of our economic cycle. For the first time in 2 years, the industry had major concerns about the availability, the access, and the cost of capital. All with varying opinions of our market fundamentals. If you asked one person, they'd say one thing. If you asked another person, they'd say another. So all of a sudden, the way deals were getting done looked a lot different. And it really caused people to pause and think, is now the right time to really start moving forward with our projects? And we saw a slight pause in transaction activity in Q1 and Q2 as a result. However, we closed out with 2023 really strong. Industrial demands were at a sustainable high and vacancy at an all-time low. We had a surge of Class A office delivered to the market, leasing at premium rates. Retail was performing well. Low vacancy rates and lack of new construction really helped to build a reputable demand in our market. So with all of that in mind, gentlemen, how was 2023 specifically for you, and what were some of the projects you were working on? Matt, paint us a picture of 2023.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. Kudos to the chapter. You guys do a great job. I feel like 2023 was freaking treacherous. Like it was there was probably Q1, Q2 that was, that still had some old legacy loans, sort of some old construction costs, and once you churn through that and you get to Q3, and obviously just the retail side, but when you get to Q3, you're a year into high rates, you're probably 6 or 9 months into higher costs, and Q3 and Q4 were, I wouldn't say a bloodbath. They're still consistent work, but if we're going to talk maybe like the Thai restaurant intensity scale on a 1 to 10, I feel like Q3 and Q4 was probably a 3.5 or a 4 at max. It was tough. I think that's limped into this year. As it relates to the projects we've done, a good amount of Starbucks deals, Chipotle deals. We're working with Wow Wash a little bit. We've built a 5-acre neighborhood center, and then on the grand scale, probably 10 times more on an intensity scale, I'd say what we call St. Rose Square. I would assume the majority of folks more affectionately refer to it as the Costco Center on St. Rose Parkway. But our scope has been between single tenant stuff to the Grand Power Center for looking in the rearview mirror.
And Mathias, give us a regional and local perspective of what the industrial market and capital markets were looking like in 2023.
So 2023, the best way I think to describe it on the industrial side is interesting, right? Because it's almost a tale of two marketplaces where you have, to Matt's point, rising costs. We weren't immune to that. You have a rising interest rate environment which expands cap rates, and so the investment side of it became a lot more difficult. Right? If there's a lot of industrial brokers I see in this room that were at one point where we were talking about cap rates in the mid to lower 3s. Now cap rates I think are pretty well set in the 5.25 sort of range. So we've seen a huge move on that, and that's caused a lot of uncertainty. That's caused a lot of people to reassess their investments. And that's not unique just to the Las Vegas market. I oversee, like Sabrina said, Reno and Phoenix. And so all these same markets have the same dynamics. And where I say it's a tale of two markets, we still see good customer pressure. We still see good rent pressure. And so you kind of combine those two, and it's just been a very sort of wait and see for a lot of folks. Vegas specifically, I think that the headwind is really the amount of product under construction and being delivered, right? We're 17 million square feet across the valley. So that's an increase of your stock of, call it 13%. In 1 year, we're adding 13% of inventory. So we're no longer really supply constrained, and the pre-leasing is a little bit soft. That's not to say that the market is tough. The market is still historically amazing. Again, I look around at some of my industrial friends in the room. It's, if you would have said 10 years ago, we're in a 5.25 cap environment, everybody in this room would have been excited. So 2020, the outlook on the capital side, I think is we're going to see things stabilize in 24, but it's going to be an interesting time still.
That's great. And Frank, first, I want to welcome you in celebration of your first year completed in 2023 to the Southern Nevada market.
Thank you. Thank you.
How was your 2023 experience, and what was your team working on?
Well, as everyone mentioned, at the end of 2022, there was a lot of uncertainty. So the company as a whole, all of our regions, but I'll speak specifically about Summerlin, we managed our own expectations. We changed some of our projections going into 2023. And as we entered the first quarter of 2023 and the second quarter, we treaded lightly. But we found there was a momentum that picked up in 2023 as we went on into the third and fourth quarter. And some of the projects we were working on, just to give you an example on how things went well, more and more throughout the year, we finished our latest Class A office building, 1700 Pavilion Center Drive, about 260,000 square feet. And as of the end of 2023, we're over 90% leased on that building.
Wow, that's
Okay,
amazing.
so that was pretty exciting. We opened up our latest multifamily building, about 300 units, within walking distance of downtown Summerlin, and leasing on that property is going well. We substantially completed our next Class A office building in Summerlin South. That'll open in the first quarter. As far as downtown, retail sales exceeded all-time highs on sales price per square foot. We exceeded some of our attendance daily maximums, all-time highs. As far as home sales, we were conservative with some of our projections, but we sold over 1,000 new homes again last year in Summerlin. And we're seeing that, as 2023 went on, home builders were still very aggressive in land sales.
Wow, it sounds like 2023 overall seemed to be a good year with all of that uncertainty in the market. That's leading us into 2024. I still believe there's varying opinions of the certainty of our economy right now. We're heading into a major election cycle, and even though we're dealing with very similar market conditions from 2023, the Fed rates have stabilized. They're still at an all-time high from over the past 10 years, that we've seen in the past 10 years, I should say. The cost of land and construction are also high. We're still dealing with some supply chain issues, accessing material. And nationwide, we're dealing with a shortage of skilled labor. But with all of that being said, every outlook forecast that I've listened in on for 2024 has been extremely positive. What is your guys' current status of development activity in your markets, and do you have concerns entering into 2024? Mathias, Prologis had a banger year with that large land transaction last year. What can we expect from you in 2024?
2024 is, I think, we're probably not going to go out and buy another 1,000 acres of land. I think we're good on land for a couple of years. I say probably because you never know. But 24, there's going to be a couple of focuses. One is executing on what we've already got under construction. So we've got a 309,000 square footer under construction and a 153,000 footer. We got to execute on what you put out the door. The secondary thing is, as we look to execute those, is really filling that pipeline to meet customer demand. So in 2024, I would project another 3 to 4 buildings that we'd build in this market. And I think the other side of it, right, and that's executing on our existing pipeline, executing on our land bank. The other side is to look to be opportunistic, right? I think this market has got tremendous fundamentals despite the rising interest rate environment, to look at deals that offer synergy with our portfolio, that are in locations where our customers want to be. Continuing to look maybe closer in North Las Vegas, maybe more infill projects like our Desert Inn one. And so what we're going to look for in 24 is really those deals that are very much accretive to our strategy in this market long term.
That's great. Matt, what are you seeing on the land side for 2024?
I feel like there are, roughly 5 real big landowners. They're all stubborn as a sumbitch, and they ain't.
Hey.
They not you. To go buy a piece of land. Congrats on your purchase. I think. Look. I think last crash there was debt on every piece of land. A bank takes it back and will hand the keys to somebody just to carry the friggin' property taxes and the insurance on it, right? We'll carry it at 2%, just get it out the door. And today, for the most part, there's no debt on any ground, right? And so you have sellers who, Tom Thomas, 20 years ago had said, you got two options. Either you meet the market or you wait for the market to come back to you. And I believe that a lot of the land guys today flat out wait for the market to come back to them. If their number's $30 a foot today, and you say I'm going to wait till I get it cheaper, it's $34 in 12 months from here. And so I believe on the land side, I think generally we talk about a softening, but I don't see anybody selling a piece of ground at half off today in any way, shape, or form.
No flash sale, huh?
Negative.
Okay. Frank, Howard Hughes has the most diverse portfolio on the panel and consistently develops throughout his history in Southern Nevada. What do you guys have in your pipeline in 2024?
First, I want to say I've been on both sides of the land issue, and I sympathize because we're in a very unique situation now where land costs not really an issue, right? We bought the land so long ago that it's a luxurious position to be in. So with that, I think given the size and magnitude of Summerlin, we've started to look at opportunities to work in different parts of Summerlin at the same time. Where historically we may have focused on one or two projects at a time, we're defining 3 different urban cores in Summerlin, and each of them developing with their own personality and characteristics. Everybody knows downtown Summerlin, a regional destination, traditional retail, multifamily, and office. We're looking in Summerlin South, a more entertainment industry-based retail and dining akin to the Sportsman's Lodge in Los Angeles, if anybody knows of that project. And then up in Summerlin West, an urban core inspired more by cultural arts and health and wellness.
Wow.
So we're excited about having simultaneous development in different parts of Summerlin at the same time.
That's amazing. I'm curious to see the master plan of the urban corridors that Julie's put together. I know she's had her hands in that.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Southern Nevada is continuing to diversify its economic market verticals, and over the past 5 years, we've really started to compete with Tier 1 metropolitan cities, attracting national and international companies. So when you guys are looking to attract these end users, what is the differentiators or best selling points that Southern Nevada has? And what are some of the things deterring them to other markets? Frank, having business units across the country, you have access to a client directory that is always looking to expand geographically. How does selling conversations of Southern Nevada look like for you?
I think, when I think about those conversations and differentiators, being the new kid in town, right, I myself had to educate myself on how to sell Summerlin and Las Vegas. And a lot of times it's not differentiating, but it's educating, right? So we battle or fight against the notion that the Las Vegas Valley is the Strip. And we have to go out there and educate people in the fact that it sits at the foothills of the conservation area. There's an abundance of outdoor activities. We have Summerlin specifically, and this grows as you talk about the greater Las Vegas area, but 300 plus parks, 200 plus miles of trails, 26 schools with great reputations, public, charter, private. The weather, the taxes, downtown Summerlin is an amenity, an airport that connects directly to cities across the country easily. So for us, it's getting all these things in front of people. And when we don't, I think when we don't win the relocation or the business or attract people, it's because we're potentially, they may not be open to really listening to everything that Southern Nevada has to offer, but I also think we need to work a little harder as a community and as an industry to sort of, not be as humble about what's been done here, because, it's a wonderful place to relocate or live.
A community message, some autonomy in what we're communicating.
Sure.
the greater Las Vegas, both Henderson and Summerlin have consistently met the top 25 list of cities to relocate in the country. And so we're doing some things right. And I'm glad that you brought all of that up, all of the amazing amenities that we have around us and access to different recreational facilities. I know it's a top selling point when we're talking to clients. Mathias, okay, this could get a little tricky for you, being that I'm in the fact that you represent Phoenix, Reno, and Las Vegas. You have some national and international clients that you're speaking to, and I know for a fact that you've probably had a client or two that has come to you prospecting all three markets. How are you selling Southern Nevada? What does that look like?
Man. So I'm gonna level set here because I said there's two questions I can't answer. Is one like talking about like what's going on in California, and two, what's talking about our customer behavior. So no, it's gonna be. So when I talk to our customer base, Southern Nevada is not a tough sell on the industrial side. Candidly, it's a pretty darn easy sell. And it really starts at the ease of doing business. These big multinationals have locations all over the place. And when they call up and they say, hey, we like your site, what's the entitlement process? And it's, well, we're gonna go pull a permit, right? They're like, that can't be true, right? And so that plays into their confidence in being able to get a facility up and running on a timeline, right? And so and then the second thing is really we're located, as everybody in this room knows, at such a crucial transportation nexus, right? Southern California, Arizona, within a half-day truck drive, that's 9% of the US population. So if you need to get something there same day, you can serve it out of Vegas at a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the hassle as our neighbors to the west. Where it does become more tricky in my business is really is competing against Phoenix. Phoenix and Vegas, they're very similar in terms of their market dynamics, very similar in their cost structure. And I remember, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, I sat up here, so I'm going to steal this from Keith Ernest. He was sitting in that seat right there. Where Vegas excels, if you go 6 hours south of us now, you hit Phoenix. If you go 6 hours south of Phoenix, you hit Mexico. So we're able to hit more customers in a quicker amount of time. And so for the logistics people, the logistics customers, it's a super strategic location. So you layer those two factors together, and it's a great place to do business.
You mentioned the entitlements process. So would you say in general, we are doing it a little bit quicker than our competitors, or less kinks in the, or what is your experience?
So yeah, we're doing a better job here than Southern California, for sure. Every deal's a little different, right? And every site has a little bit of nuance, and there's certain hot buttons for Clark County. There's certain hot buttons for the city of North Las Vegas. But what I appreciate, not that there's hot buttons or not that there's challenges, it's that they're consistently applied, right? And so as a developer, if we go in one day and I see Terry, if I call Terry in the city of North Las Vegas and I'm like, hey, I've got this great site, and she says one set of rules, and then I call 3 days later and it's, oh, this is a new set of rules, that's when it becomes frustrating. And so the city and the municipalities here do a great job. Even when things change, things are consistent going forward, and it's predictability.
Yeah, that's been my experience. Matt, what would you say, dealing with national franchise brands always prospecting Las Vegas as their home, would be the biggest challenge that you come across when talking to those companies?
I think it's probably getting them to understand our market. It's sort of that educational experience first. They'll get on the Google machine or something else, and they'll go, there's all this land everywhere. I want the other corner. And you'll say you can't get it. You can go apply to the BLM and talk about maybe getting it at a public auction in 2 to 3 years, but that's not a viable solution. I had one of the, they'll remain nameless, but one of those groups that is a golf-inspired happy facility, and they call and they say, here's what we need. we need a piece that's like 400 or 500 wide by maybe 1,000 to 1,200 long, and we'd like it to be right on the doorsteps of Frank's neighborhood or right on the doorsteps of all these middle, upper neighborhoods. And you're like, I mean, there's 3 pieces. They're $40 a foot. They're not a rectangle. It's not going to be perfect for you. And it's a quick discussion because they no longer are interested in working with me, which I don't blame them, but they understand that it's not as easy as they think it is. So I think when you get tenants from other markets that say it's the desert, there's land everywhere, and there's that educational experience that says, you know what, it's not like you think. But
it's not we don't access all of that land everywhere, for sure. But let's talk emerging markets for a second. Last year, we had all sorts of new markets dominating the headlines last year, from sporting arenas to film studios. We had large distribution facility, parks and centers, as well as bio and financial technology companies prospecting here, and renewable energies. What would you guys say is the next big thing coming to Southern Nevada with your current market activity? And are you guys seeing any trends pop up? Frank, why don't you start us out with this question?
Okay. I think that the sports thing is really interesting, right? Because although it's not just beginning, it's started. I think the momentum has got a ways to go, because I think Vegas is headed to be the sports capital of the country, and the collateral impact on all assets of that is tremendous. We have the Las Vegas ballpark. It's, community serving, but it's a sense of place. It spills into downtown. We have the practice facility of the Golden Knights, which is going from 5 in the morning till after midnight, with people using the ice, from youth sports to the team itself practicing there. So I just think that what I didn't realize until I got here was how unique the audience for the sporting events are in Vegas, that how often people come in to see their hometown play somewhere else and spend a weekend or spend some time in Vegas. So I think that's, I think we'll get the NBA, I think we'll get MLS, I think, we'll get a bunch more things, and I think that is going to continue to have a big impact on patrons of retail and people wanting to relocate offices and people wanting to buy homes here.
So you're thinking, with all the markets entering our markets with sports complex, we're going to see second tier companies servicing the sporting facilities trickle in, and sports medicine and technology and all of that. Mathias, with your big parks, what does the activity look like when end users are processing, or considering coming to Southern Nevada? Are you seeing any new trends pop up outside of the ones that we've experienced in 2023? Or?
Yeah, so I think, being mindful of time, I think I would point to a couple of things. With labor is going to be a consistent through line in this market, I think, for a very long time. And as employees drive past strip casinos, as they go by, what's the best possible labor decision for these folks that work in warehouses or could work in a casino? I think that's going to be one thing. So on our big site out at Apex, that we've rebranded the Hub. So at the Hub, we talked to a lot of our customers, and they gave us a lot of pretty instructive information on what labor needs to look like out there in order for it to be a success. And obviously we purchased it, so we were pretty comfortable. I think the second thing is really power. The power company here does, I think, a fantastic job, but they're going to have some challenges ahead of them, simply because if you look at some of these warehouses, right, you're going to have, all of them have HVAC, table stakes. Users now, they want EV charging for their employees, and then truck charging is coming. Whether we like it or not is a different conversation as a group, but I personally think it's great, and it's definitely going to be the wave of the future. So as we look at these large sites, it's how can you get power, and how can we service how can we attract labor? And so those are really the two main things I've seen.
Okay, so you would say that in terms of renewable energies, biotech companies, like what type of companies are coming into your buildings that you're seeing?
I mean, we typically lease to essentially logistics companies, right? And I mean, I think as we talk about ESG and a lot of the corporate initiatives, the big building we're wrapping up in North Las Vegas right now, we're putting Lisa would know, I think a 1.6 megawatt solar system on the roof. So some of these customers really, really want to see that. And it's not just the biotech firms. It's not just the, you know, the fancy names. It's really any company that's got any sort of ESG goals, and those are becoming more and more pervasive in the marketplace.
Okay. And Matt, what would you say in the retail world has been dropped on your doorstep as a trend in your activity?
I feel like I don't want to use the phrase mixed use. I think mixed use is very difficult to figure out. I think our market has always been a hell of a retail center with some residential bolted on as an afterthought, or the inverse of that is a hell of a residential development with some retail bolted on as an afterthought. Neither one of those have worked well. But I think we're starting to see a little bit more, mixed, multi-use places. I think these guys are incorporating some gas and some food into some of their developments now. You look at some of the stuff Frank's doing, and it's not. I mean, it's more clustery, where there's a little bit more ability to do more things in a rifle approach environment. If you look at what happened today, we all left our houses, got in our cars, sort of drove to this facility, hung here for a while. We're going to drive another 6 to 8 miles down the street to go to a plant somewhere. We're going to maybe drive to a restaurant. We're going to go back to the plant. We're going to drive home and probably drive right back that restaurant that we drove by, drive by a grocery store, stop, and then go home. And if we can mix in something where there's some more integral master plans, where there's a little bit more in a tighter, confined environment, I think it would just do a ton for our town. Look, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Our town has an incredible entrepreneurial spirit. It is a high growth, low tax town. I feel like we used to be, really worried about getting to that 2 million figure. We passed the 2 million figure, and I swear we're all going to blink and it's going to be 3 million. And so our town is set up incredibly. We've done some incredible things. I had a guy from EY, 20 years ago, said he was underwriting a project. He was either calling from a 212 or a 213 number. I don't remember. But he said, how do you get over people thinking it's a cultural backwater? And I had some choice words for him. And people don't say that anymore. People don't say any of that anymore. So we're on the stage. I don't think it's a matter of getting on the stage. We're flat freaking in the middle of the stage, and I think all we got to do is the simple things right. And I mean, we're attracting people left and right here.
Yeah, I would say in my experience with large land plays, building large logistic locations, they're really truly building an ecosystem around those large distribution facilities to not only house them with residential, but give them the creature comforts that they need, from grocery stores to short stay, extended stay hotels, and really trying to keep them, it's the flight to equality, so that they really don't have to go outside a certain radius of their working environment. And that's what I've seen. Before we turn the discussion over to Q&A, I wanted to say thank you, but also wanted you guys to put on your fortune-telling robes for just a minute. I wanted to do a little fun question. What would be your best prediction of our markets in Southern Nevada, and what would they look like in 2025 if we were, when we're sitting here this time next year at the NAIOP breakfast? This is for anyone to jump in on.
For us, 2024 is really a year of pre-development. So this time next year, I would hope that we'd be able to share information on more than a half dozen projects that we were breaking ground on soon.
Exciting.
So I'm going to go with an even more exciting update. I think the 10-year is probably going to stabilize, hopefully in the 4-ish range. I know everybody loves talking about yields. I mean, and I think that stabilization in the 10-year over the next 12 months is going to give developers, lenders, customers more certainty in their capital decisions, and we'll see a more normalizing of demand, where it's not so, hey, we're building 17 million square feet, then nothing, and now 17 and nothing. It'll be a more regress to the mean over the long term sort of discussion.
they call me Mr. Sunshine at the office, not because of all my positive things I have to say from time to time. I think it's going to be a rough going. It's 6 months of retail, right? I believe, rising tides lift all boats. And I think these guys are going to carry us through. Some of the other segments are going to carry us through. I think retail is going to struggle. It's going to be build-to-suit stuff. It's going to be single-tenant stuff. It's going to be nothing speculative in any way, shape, or form. I believe there's going to be a Costco center out of the ground at Buffalo in 215. I believe Hank Gordon might do something out in the east against the 215. Frank's going to deliver a killer grocery center at the corner of Sahara and Town Center. But absent that, I mean, nobody's speccing 30,000 feet of shop space. I feel like it's a tough 6 months. Hopefully there's this momentum that kicks in, maybe Q3. I'm not going to predict that rates are going to drop like a prune through the human body, but they are going to, I think, reel back a little bit, and I think we'll get some freedom come to Q3.
Of 25?
This year.
This year.
A little bit of rate relief this year.
Okay. Will help the momentum. Okay, where's Dan at?
Thank you very much, Sabrina. Thank you, everyone here. We have over 300 people in the audience and probably 100 online, so record attendance. And Matt, I think going forward, we're going to ask every question is, what's the tie rating of your real estate deals for everyone on the panel? Frank, there's a question. You're in LA still in commuting, perhaps? Is that what you said?
At the moment, I'm
So the question
work
is,
week, I'm here.
You said you had to educate people, customers and tenants and all this about coming to LA. What's your personal experience about coming to Las Vegas and the quality of life that we actually have and Summerlin has?
When I mentioned about educating others, it was really based on personal experience, my level of understanding of what Summerlin was and what the Vegas Valley offered prior to first being introduced to the opportunity. And clearly, I'm preaching to the choir, but the more you learn, the more you like, and how thoughtfully Summerlin, by my predecessor and a great team, has been thoughtfully planned and implemented, was really impressive to me, and all the things that being here and living here offers. I immediately realized that there's just an opportunity to inform so many more. And yes, I think that the migration's real and people are standing at the doorstep and want to be here, but I also think that there's a lower percentage of people than we actually think that really know how great it is. I can speak from personal experience with colleagues, friends, and others from Southern California that are still getting informed and up to speed on what great opportunity there is here in Southern Nevada.
Mathias, Apex used to be a very tough sell, and now it's not a tough sell, and the largest REIT in the world, you guys, decided to go in for 1,000 acres. When did that decision come about, or what was behind it? Scarcity of land, or obviously you have a customer base?
It's hard to point to just one thing. I think one is a conviction in a forward-looking investment in Las Vegas. I mean, I think our customers want to be here. We've had a tremendous amount of momentum operating our real estate, growing this real estate organically. So it's really a high conviction market. The second thing that I would point to is really it was kind of a moment in time transaction where we looked at it and we said, hey, this is the right call to buy this unfinished land and then really put our expertise to work to finish it. And then it's also a little bit of California is a continuingly tough place to operate, right? We have a ton of real estate there and we love California still. But it's a tough place to operate and develop and deploy capital for your customers. So looking at it as sort of as a counterbalance to California in an entitled, great place to operate and do business.
What's your strategic plan for building out that huge park?
If anybody wants to bring customers, we will do build-to-suits all day long, as fast and as profitable as possible is our plan. So we have a ton of holdings, and this doesn't need to be a Prologis sort of advertisement, but I mean, we've got 670 that we can go on Speedway North, that's on North Belt Road. We've got the stuff on Las Vegas Boulevard in the 15. We can go another 2.3 million feet. And it's going to take us about 30 months to get the substation, the water line, the irrigation or the drainage channel all completed. And so as we look at it, it's sort of gapping our project. So we could build 2, 3, 4, however many buildings on spec every year from now until Steph's going to kill me on the underwriting, but I think 2041. So we can really look to continue that momentum in the long run. But we'll do it all today if somebody has a build-to-suit. That's great.
One of the first, I had somebody ask me, one of the guys at the office said, do you know the golden rule? And I said, do unto us. No, not that, dummy. He who has the gold makes the rules.
Yeah.
And in this environment, you take these guys that have the land. And we're in a, there's some supply coming. And you turn through that supply and you get back to intensity level, an 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, and people fly in here. And these guys, with this amount of land that they have, you got to buy the tail. You can do anything you want when you have that land. Congrats on the acquisition, but there's not a lot of people that can show up in town and say, I want 1.2 million feet when there's no availability. You got to come to you to do a build-to-suit.
I think Matt just said I have a really easy job. I don't. That's what I heard. I don't know.
That's what I heard.
So, Matt, on that subject, both Mathias and Frank have said, compared to Los Angeles regulations, pretty easy here. What do you find when you're developing some of your projects on regulation?
I believe we've been incredibly spoiled based on how nimble the jurisdictions were, 5, 10, 15 years ago. I think today there's becoming some challenges. I know it's hard to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm the one that gets the grenade and has to talk about it. I believe, when COVID hit, there were a lot of folks that were tenured, and they left the jurisdictions because I believe they were scared that they could pay their salaries, and they went to PERS, and they collected PERS, and those salaries are no longer existent. But some of those people were the ones that had the hammer and the ability to make a decision at one of the jurisdictions pretty quickly, and today it's a little challenged in that environment. I get some stuff. I got a request for a drainage waiver from a request for a drainage easement from Public Works on a county-owned piece of property, and the two can't reconcile with each other. And so there's some challenges from time to time. I think today it's worse than it's been, but I do believe it's obviously better than LA or San Francisco, where it takes you 3 to 5 years to entitle a project.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, there's several questions just on downtown Summerlin. The next phase, retail tenants that we don't really know about, the type of tenants, but they're all over the thing. So here's a little sales pitch for you on downtown Summerlin.
We've been spending a lot of time on all 3 urban cores, and one of those happens to be downtown Summerlin. We've got just east of downtown Summerlin 90 acres of land still to develop. We are completing the Whole Foods and inline retail adjacent to our most recent multifamily building. And we have a master plan that's going to bring more Class A office space, more multifamily buildings, more retail, some neighborhood serving retail hubs within that land that's yet to be developed. So we're really excited about the next phase of downtown Summerlin. And as far as retail tenants, we've got 1.2 million square feet of retail. Like any center, we have tenants that roll and leave, and we're really thankful that we backfill those in ways that we feel even elevates the tenant mix.
And for the audience, any more questions, please get them to me. Mathias, big box users coming into our market in the $500,000 to $1 million or 1 million square foot range. How's that activity today, or what's it look like in 2024, 2025?
So
not just for your company, also for the town.
No, we can kind of talk about the sort of overall demand. That's totally fine. I think it's regressed to a normal environment. I mean, if you got in the business 2 years ago and you thought that was normal, where your tenants and market list was 75 people deep and it's the who's who, and you've got 3 RFPs on every building and it's just great, nobody underwrites any downtime anymore. That's not normal. That's never. It could happen again, but it shouldn't. It's just not a normal way of doing things. So I think right now demand for the big box users is okay. It's historically good. Where we have challenges here is I think, Dermody's got a 600, Keith at Van Trust has a couple of buildings, the Moonwater guys have a 1,000,000 footer, and then the North Point guys have a 1,000,000 footer. That sounds like a lot of real estate. But I compare it to my other market in Phoenix where there is 9 1,000,000 square footers, right? So kind of conceptualize that 9 1,000,000 square footers under construction right now or in completion that are vacant. And so if you need that, we're competing on those big requirements a lot more against Phoenix because their base rent is lower, their operating expenses are a little bit higher, their labor's a little bit different. It's just, there's some different things. But those users are looking around. I think the stabilization in sort of the debt and the capital markets will help those users hopefully increase their demand over time.
When did the 9 million square footers deliver in Phoenix, and how long has it been since? I mean, are they challenged with backfilling those, or?
I mean, some of them are still under construction. Ours is going to finish in April or May. Mm-hmm. Some have been sitting for 3 or 4 months. So I mean, it's not like anything's been sitting for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Right.
So you would say probably the new norm, but back to stabilization, is in the range of 200,000 square feet to 500,000 square feet of demand?
I think we still see a trend towards larger users in this market. I think there's a lot of dynamics for it. Are we going to see 30 of them in a year, or are we going to see 5 of them in a year? And if I had to put my money on one or the other, I'm guessing you're probably going to see 5 of these, 6 to 1,000,000 square footers a year, which is still historically great. I mean, I see Donna over there. If I would have told you 10 years ago that we're going to have 3 to 5 million square feet of positive net absorption, everybody in the industrial world would be ecstatic. That's a great number. So.
What are your guys' feelings about the secondary markets of Southern Nevada that are now getting a lot of traction, the Jeans and Sloan's and El Dorado Valley?
So it's funny, I was asked the same question 48 hours ago on a panel in Phoenix, except about Tucson and Nogales. And so we typically try and stay inside of urban areas, or as close to urban areas as we possibly can. And admittedly, Jean is from where we sit today, 20, 25 minutes. It's not like it's 3.5 hours away. But from a Prologis perspective, and when I'm looking at investing in real estate, I'm not looking in super duper outlying areas. It's really going to be focused as close to population and labor as possible.
That's good.
Frank, you talk about the questions about the office supply in the valley. Your 1700's full, Uncommons is full, Narratives virtually full or full. What's your take on the office market valley-wide, Las Vegas?
We're still bullish on office. We think the flight to quality, the buildings located in the right area. We're very focused on Class A office space within walking distance of downtown Summerlin. A neighbor to our 1700 Pavilion Center Drive is where we're planning our next pipeline Class A office building. I think that we all watch office on a more macro level nationally, and as over the next year or so, it'll be interesting to see how some of these secondary markets or buildings that aren't on Main and Main or buildings that aren't really amenitized, what happens when they are given back to banks or sell for huge discounts, how much that affects the national mindset of people we have to deal with, lenders and investors and so forth. Will be interesting to see how it plays out, but I think the Vegas Valley, Summerlin specifically, places like that, places like Culver City in California, there's still a much higher demand than supply in those markets for quality office. So we're looking forward with some pipeline projects.
With those B-class office product and second gen office, when do you see, or do you see at all, the conversion of office to multifamily like some of our bigger neighboring cities are doing? Do you see that come into Las Vegas at all?
It's tough for me to say without knowing the actual supply. In my previous employer, we looked at a lot of those adaptive reuse possibilities. And the truth is, based on the geometry of a building, a floor plate, and other factors, a much lower percentage of office buildings are convertible to something like residential than you actually think. And sometimes it's better to just scrap the building and start over. But yeah, so I think a quick story. So we, in Hollywood, California, we purchased a building for $27.5 million. We put about $14 million into it. At the end, it was $41 million that we had in. We repositioned it. We went for the sort of creative, how do you take an older building, make a creative office space? We exposed the walls, exposed brick, polished the concrete floors, exposed ceilings. We took the rent from under $2 a foot to over $4 a foot. And we wound up exiting that at the right time. For a buyer gave us $71 million on a $41 million investment, which was great. But 4.5 years later, more recently, in the last 12 months, the buyer who bought it from us just sold it for $27 million. So there's going to be things like that happen. Now that building, I will tell you that wasn't sort of. I mean, it was Hollywood, California. East Hollywood is very bullish, with Netflix and others there. But that building was a building that was sort of pushing the envelope because it was in Hollywood, California, and it didn't have parking. But at the peak of what was going on in office, it had a cool factor. There were some of the right tenants in there. And now when you break it down to you need the fundamentals of a fully amenitized building with all the things that you need, there's buildings out there that are just going to be obsolete.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's the quality of the panelists that drives the attendance. Take it home, Cassie. Thank you, Cassie. Congratulations, your first year.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And yes, crazy that I'm the 4th female president for 34 or 36 years of this chapter. But Reed actually had said it best, as he usually does when he has to remind me of perspective. I said, wow, how am I only the 4th? And he goes, right, but you're the 2nd in 2 years, because Julie was in 2023, or 4 years, I should say. And I was like, that's right. So again, it's all in how you look at things. And if you haven't seen the blooper reel from Julie and I doing a virtual spotlight in 2020, she does play a mean kazoo. So maybe I should show that at February's breakfast. I did have the pleasure of singing along with Julie while she played the kazoo in 2020. So if you don't know that, you're welcome, Julie.
Memories of the way we were.
So thank you again to our panelists and to Sabrina for moderating. I'm very, very grateful for all 3 of you agreeing to put yourselves out there for us. And Mathias, thank you for the socks. Very appreciative from the audience. Thank you very much. Thank you. Before I conclude real quick, I would be remiss, and I almost forgot just in the hustle and bustle of this morning, but I do always remember this because my grandmother is the most beloved person in my life, and she turns 87 today. And Jonna, it's also your birthday today. And so I know that you're going to hate this, but it is your birthday, and you worked so hard for all of us at NAIOP. I was on the phone with you at 7:30 last night going over this. So happy birthday, and I would like to take a moment for all of us to sing you happy birthday today.
That's perfect.
Please stand, Jonna, so we can sing you a very appropriate happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
We love you, Jonna. Thank you for everything you do. So without further ado, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Don't forget that the February breakfast program is 1 week earlier. So in 3 weeks, I will see you all here again on February 8th. Thank you.